Only members of the team may participate in the discussion. Any members of the public present are here to quietly observe. For members of the Go team, please identify yourself when you speak. I'm pleased to call this meeting of the Crawford Long Middle School Go team to order at 5:37 p.m. Our first order of business is to call roll. The secretary will now take the roll.
I apologize. Just a lot of noise in the background of my house, so. All right. So 10:26. Okay. Can you see me? And can you hear me? Yes. Okay, so I call Carla Mccall, are you present?
Present.
Natasha Hall, present. Mr. Murphy, present.
Present.
Ms. Boston, present.
Present.
I'm Harriet Dionese, I am present. Star Clark, are you present? Chandra Vaughn, are you present? Jesse Webb, are you present?
Present.
And Ms. NG, if I'm saying that correctly, are you present? Okay. I did roll call, Mr. Murphy. Do I ask if there's a quorum or you?
I do. It says that this team will only be able to take official action if a quorum is present. Madam Secretary Dionese, is there a quorum present?
Yes, there is.
Yes, there is a quorum present. If there is a quorum present, proceed to action items on the next page. So now we will move to the approval of the agenda under the action items.
I'm sorry, just a quick question. I counted four Go team members. Was that correct?
Yes.
Okay, you need 5 for quorum.
You got to have all 5 members for quorum?
Well, you have 9 members on your team. So quorum is a majority. So you need 5 of the 9 in order to have quorum. Because Ms. Hall is not here, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, I apologize. That's Diane, Ms. Jacoby. We have 8 on our team.
It still works out to 5. Because a majority of 8 is 5.
5, not 4 is, yeah, it's not a majority because you need a tiebreaker. Or
Ms. Jacoby, I'm asking a question for clarification, but I think it was the first meeting that we had. I think that's when we were told that one of the parents had been elected. I believe you said Chandra Vaughn.
Yes, Ms. Vaughn was elected as part of the elections process.
As the secretary, I've done everything in my power to reach out to parents. I've called them, spoken with them, told them the dates, gotten emails, sent emails. If we have parents, because last year we had a parent that never participated, never came once.
Mm-hmm.
Actually just spoke with that parent today. It's the one that has been a mystery parent, and I got in touch with her. Her kids are in high school. And when I called her, I asked her, if we needed to know if she wanted to continue in the Go team, and she said she never knew that she was on it.
Okay.
So
how that happened, I don't know, but if she does not wish to continue on the Go team, then I recommend that you follow up with her with an email.
I did.
Copy the Go team office and say, as per our conversation, I will take this as a resignation of your resignation from the Go team. If I misunderstood, please let me know as soon as possible. That way we have a record of that resignation, please.
Yeah, I would say that I have a record of reaching out to her already, and I've done what they asked me to do to get her to say she wants to resign, and she said she'd do that today, but that's neither. My reason I'm asking you about the parents is because I know Star Clark was nominated or brought on 8/31, but Chandra Vaughn, we were told that that parent had been elected last year. And if we have a parent that gets elected, and this one does know that she's on the Go team, and they choose not to show up, what are we going to do? Because if we keep on not meeting quorums, then what can we do?
So that's where a lot of times it helps to have the principal reach out, or this is where you need to make sure that you loop our office in, because then we can also help with that outreach and the obligation.
We have a quorum now because Miss NJ is here.
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hello, Miss NJ, as the secretary, I need to ask you if you are present.
Yes, I am present.
And did I say your name correctly, NJ?
Njai.
NJ, you've told me that before. Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you.
No problem. No problem at all.
Mr. Murphy, I believe you can proceed with the quorum question.
Is there a quorum present?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, because there is a quorum present, we can now move on with the action items, and the first will be the approval of the agenda. So first, allow everyone to, Ms. Dionise, can you post the agenda?
I will. It's at the very top, and for those of you who were here at the beginning, it's there, but I'll post it again for everybody who's here now.
Okay. Our first order of business is to approve the agenda. I'm just going to allow everyone to kind of look over the agenda, and it's the same agenda from the previous meeting because no actions were taken. We couldn't even approve it because we did not have meet quorum. So with this being said, this was provided to you and copies are here. Are there any changes to the agenda? Okay. May I have a motion to approve the agenda as read?
I motion to approve the agenda.
Yes, it will by second.
Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
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 So the secretary can record your vote. All opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? Please say abstain. So at this time, the agenda has been approved. Next order of business is the approval of the previous minutes, and that meeting is from 8/31. Can you post those meeting minutes, please, Ms. Dionise?
I am reposting. Some of you may have already been able to open it, but here it is again.
Let me ask you, can you share your screen, share them on your screen?
Sure.
Thank you. At this time, we will review and approve
I'm
the
sorry.
meeting minutes from go ahead.
It's saying that the host has disabled participant screen sharing.
Oh, can you allow Ms. Mccall, Ms. Dionise to be a co-host, please? Screen sharing.
Ms. Dionise, you should be able to share your screen at this time.
Okay. There we go. Right. Can you all see the minutes?
Yes, scroll up, please, or scroll down. So these are the minutes from the 8:31 meeting.
Mhm.
All right, at this time, are there any corrections? If there are no corrections, may I have a motion to approve the previous meeting minutes?
I motion to approve.
May I have a second?
I, Jesse Webb, second.
All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions, please say abstain. All right, Ms. Secretary, please note who made the motion and who seconded and how each member voted. Are there any additional action items? Let's see. Let me look at the agenda real quick. All right, so there are no additional action items. We will now
Mr.
move on.
Murphy? Mr.
Yes.
I apologize. I think wasn't, this should have been in there, but wasn't one of our action items that we need to decide what other month we're going to have a meeting? Is that considered an action item? Because we didn't have a quorum last time, we have to have an extra one.
Yes, that would be an action item. All right, so can I get a motion to open the, I don't know how to do that actually. Can I get a motion to review the action items again?
I motion that we review the action items again.
Can I get a second?
I second.
Okay. All in favor, please say aye.
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 All right. All opposed, say nay. All right, any abstentions? Please say abstain. Okay, motion passed. So, say that again.
I was just saying I abstain.
You abstain? Okay. All right. What's abstention word? All right, so at this time, the motion still passed due to the majority. At this time, we were not able to have the, let me open the screen. We were not able to go over the strategic plan and have a quorum at the last meeting. Because of that, none of the actions we weren't able to pass any actions. We need to decide on a date for the next upcoming meeting. I know there are dates available in November because we did not have a meeting scheduled in November. Does anyone have a particular date outside of that? Anyone? This is discussion.
What about possibly November 14th? Is that a date that we could possibly look at?
All right, November 14th. I think that's a possible date.
Is that a Wednesday? Let me see. Is that a Wednesday?
That's
or
a
Thursday?
Tuesday.
It is.
Tuesday.
Hmm.
Tuesday.
Or do we want to continue on the path of doing it on a Thursday?
Wednesday would work better for me.
I think tonight was the last night we have it on a Thursday
Thursday.
because, yeah, all the other
Okay.
meetings planned for the year are on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And those other meetings, if you want me to share the screen, I've got the calendar of our meetings.
Okay.
Okay.
I have
So
a
that,
question.
Yes,
Will it be around the same time?
yes.
Okay,
Mhm.
thank
Yeah,
you.
all the meetings start at 5:30 PM on Wednesday for each month that we have them. And they're usually
Okay,
30 days out.
okay, thank you so
Yep.
much.
Yep. So if we can have, so is everybody okay with November 15th at 5:30?
yeah, that Wednesday is what I was about to say.
Yes,
Okay. So can I have a motion do we have to make a motion to agree on that? All right, let's make them all right. At this time,
Wait a minute.
Yes,
Miss
you do.
Kim, that's Wednesday. We can't do it, keep our meetings on a Thursday?
all our meetings are set for Wednesdays.
Okay, I still have a class on Wednesday.
So if you're opening up the discussion to discuss when you're having your sixth meeting, remember, the goal is to have quorum. So you guys might need to expand your discussion and your options to find out when you can have at least 5 people present in order to have that quorum. So
So Ms. Boston, you're saying Wednesday is not doable for you because of
No.
your class?
Yes, I have a master teacher class that evening, and that class starts at 5 p.m.
Yes. What about for the rest of the dates on the calendar?
It's every Wednesday for the year.
So now we got to revamp the whole calendar.
Well, we started with Thursday. I didn't know that we were, well, you know what, she did say we were going to meet less in second semester. So we're probably okay for the February, March, and May date. Just for next, the 15th, I probably won't be available.
Okay, so we're gonna need you here. So what about that Thursday?
Yeah, if we can do it the 16th, I can be available.
All right, so is
Are the
that
other
fine?
members,
Is that okay with everyone else's schedule?
I'm okay with that.
Mr. Webb,
I'm okay.
Ms. McCall,
that's fine with me.
all right, Ms. Dionese,
It's fine.
okay. So at this time, I would like for someone to motion for the addition of the additional date on November 16th for a Go Team meeting.
I am motion for the new date.
Somebody second? I second. All right. Any ayes? All ayes, say aye.
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 All right. All noes, say nay. Any abstentions, say abstain. All right, motion passed. So Ms. Dionese, can you update the calendar with November 16th as our makeup date for our November meeting?
Absolutely.
Okay. And with that being said, that was a part of our approval of the agenda. We added that into the agenda. So therefore, we need to approve the agenda again. So we have a motion to approve the agenda after corrections.
I motion to approve the agenda with the corrections.
Okay, somebody, I second that. Any, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? All right, motion passes. So now we can move down to, I believe did we approve the previous minutes? Yes. Additional action items, took care of that. So now, discussion. So now we're gonna move down to the discussion items. We will now move to the discussion items on our agenda. So the first discussion item on our agenda is, there are no discussion items. With that being said, we're going to move on to our informational items, which will be the school strategic plan. We will now move to the informational items for which is the first principal's report, which is the school strategic plan, priorities and review. The principal will now give the report. So Ms. McCall, turn it over to the principal.
Okay, Ms. Delnice, if possible, can you please share your screen?
I apologize. Haven't used PowerPoint in a while. Where do I press
Okay.
to make it?
If you go to the top right-hand corner, and if you see between the hyphen and the X, if you hit that button to enlarge the screen, and then proceed to where it says slideshow.
Slideshow.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm being blocked. There it is. Okay.
And then you can say start from the beginning.
Great. Thank you.
Problem, thank you. And we can go to the next screen. Well, good evening, everyone. At this time, you'll have the principal's report for CW Long Middle School. The first item we will look at after agenda will be our school strategic priorities alongside the SMART goals set for the year based off of our GMAS data and also our map. You can go to the next one, Ms. Delnice. Next slide, please.
Oops. Okay.
Okay. Now, this year we have 3 SMART goals, and we'll say 4 in regards to family engagement. Now, those SMART goals are based off the data from our 22-23 Georgia Milestones Assessment. Now, our first goal for this school year is focused on literacy. The percentage of students in grades 6 through 8 scoring proficient or above in ELA as measured by the Georgia Milestone Assessment will increase by 3%. From 13.9% to 16.9% by May 2024. Next, we will have our mathematics SMART goal. The percentage of students in grades 6 through 8 scoring proficient or above in math as measured by the Georgia Milestones Assessment will increase by 3% from 8% to 11% by May 2024. And next, we have our whole child goal, which focuses on our average daily attendance rate. Our goal is to increase the average daily attendance rate from 87.5% to at least 90.5% by the end of the 23-24 school year. And of course, we want to make sure that we're engaging our parents. And for our parent engagement goal, our goal is to provide at least 2 opportunities for families to engage in student goal setting to enhance academic and behavioral ownership during the 23-24 school year. Now, of course, we have some goals that we need to have to meet, but we have some priorities that we need to focus on also. One of those main priorities as far as fostering academic excellence for all scholars in the building is to improve student mastery of all content areas. And that right there is going to take us some intense work, and we will speak later on the strategies the school is currently implementing and will implement throughout the year to make sure those goals are met. Our next goal, implement STEM program model. Our next goal is to prepare all students for college, career, and life. The next priority, prepare all students to have essential life skills, social emotional learning, and that's something we're doing every day here at Long Middle School. Our next priority is to implement goal setting, student ownership, growth mindset opportunities for all scholars. And again, I'm saying all scholars in this building. Our next priority, build teacher and leader capacity. The next priority we have set, recruit, develop, and retain highly talented faculty and staff. And the last set of priorities, which focuses on the priorities and initiatives of creating a system of school support, is to utilize systems and resources that identify and address root causes to promote social and academic growth, and to inform and engage school, families, partners, and community members. Now, if we go back to the top and look at some of the strategies we're utilizing to make sure we only not focus on those priorities, but we also meet our goals. Some of the strategies that we're utilizing to focus on academic excellence for all students. Daily, we have a connections intervention block that focuses on those students in ELA and math who, based off the data, are at the bottom 1%. And we're making sure they're receiving intensive support in both ELA and math daily. Next, implement research-based instructional school practices school-wide. And I would like to say our coaches are doing a great job right now. Right now, we saw that there is a true need for small group instruction that focuses on the personalized needs of each scholars. So currently, we're working diligently, and our coaches are really working with the teachers to really hone in on the individual students' needs and to make sure that we're having stations in the classroom so each student can receive the opportunity to receive support from the teacher each day based off of their learning gaps. Next, providing core content enrichment and acceleration support to students to include advanced courses. I am happy to say we do have students in mathematics and science who are currently enrolled via AVA in high school physical science and Algebra 1. So we are increasing our number of students who are currently enrolled in advanced courses here at Long Middle School. Next, implement project-based learning through our school's focus on STEM. Of course, we've received COPNIA certification, but our goal is to receive STEM certification as far as statewide. So currently we are about to start implementing again PBLs this school year, but one big push we had to really focus on is making sure that the teachers are receiving that support that is needed to not only teach the content areas in the classroom, but at the same time implementing those STEM focus standards and those STEM strategies within the classroom daily. Next, execute a college and career readiness plan and our dynamic counseling team. That's an ongoing process that they do with the students at each grade level. For building a culture of student support, implement social and emotional learning and restorative practices. We, as said earlier, in all content areas and in all classes, we make sure that SEL is implemented. But at the same time, of course, we know that as teenagers, mistakes are made. So we're also utilizing restorative practices to not only allow the students to know that, yes, you will make mistakes, but at the same time, to allow them to learn from those mistakes and not always be punitive, because oftentimes if a student is not in school, they're not learning. So we're making sure we are using those restorative practices to keep our scholars here in the building. Next, implement strategies to motivate, engage, and build well-directed scholars with a sense of autonomy, choice, and responsibility in their actions. That right there is going to come majorly when we start our goal setting. After our second MAP assessment in November. It's very important that the students are motivated, but at the same time, it's important for them to know the data so they can not only be motivated internally, but externally also. So we are making sure that our scholars are having that level of accountability as it pertains to their own path that they would like to take. Equipping and empowering leaders, provide targeted professional learning opportunities and development focused on research-based practices. Again, the admin team and our dynamic ILT, they have really honed in on that, and they have not only been implementing in-house learning opportunities, but they have also continued to gauge and pull from those individuals from the district to provide ongoing support, and also shifting to also going and having opportunities both at the local, state, and national level to see other research-based practices that work in specific contents so we can bring it here to Crawford Long and utilize those strategies. Next, implement intentional vertical and horizontal instructional alignment throughout the school and cluster. Right now, we are doing a great job weekly with our vertical and horizontal instructional alignment inside of the school. One of the biggest pushes that we would like to make is making sure that we do have that vertical connection with our elementary and high schools in the cluster to make sure we are identifying those areas that our scholars need support in. So we do need to increase as far as the cluster vertical teaming. Create a H4 TQ hiring for teacher quality team. We do have a dynamic team. We are retaining our staff at a higher rate. And this year, based off of preliminary observations and also just based off of quantitative and qualitative data, we do have a dynamic team. And right now we're in a good spot as far as retaining those individuals. Creating a system of school support. One of the biggest things, people do not leave the place, they leave the people. So when it comes to that, we want to make sure that each individual in this building feels supported. By maximizing the use of data dashboards and universal screener reports to monitor strategies and progress. We are really delving and diving into APS graphs and our data to make sure we're making intentional moves for our scholars and teachers based off of the data, and build parent, family, and community capacity and engagement for all nationalities to understand student academic and behavior needs through town halls, curriculum nights, workshops, and after school all-stars. We now have a new parent liaison, and currently we are working on building our engagement with our parents. We have had some initial functions this school year, and we have seen a pretty good turnout. So our goal is to make sure we continue to push and make sure we communicate with our families to make sure they are providing that support and that connection between home and school. Ms. Delnice, next slide, please. Now, this slide right here is going to show you our data from the spring 22-23 map. We have both content areas, math and reading. So I'm going to start with mathematics first. At the 6th grade level, 64% of our scholars were at the beginning level, 31% developing, and 5% were at the proficient level. For 7th grade, 56% of our scholars were at the beginning level, 39% were at the developing level, and 4% was at the proficient level. And it was like 0.4 for distinguished, so that did not push us to that 1% mark. For 8th grade math, 58% of our students were at the beginning level, 35% of our scholars were at the developing level, 6% of our scholars were at the proficient level, and 1% of our scholars in mathematics at the 8th grade scored at the distinguished level. Next, reading, 6th grade reading. 57% of our scholars on the map scored at the beginning level. And again, this is not this school year, this is at the end of last school year. 27% of our scholars at the developing level. 14% of our scholars at the proficient level, and 2% at the distinguished level in reading in 6th grade. 7th grade reading, 50% of our scholars were at the beginning level, 37% of our scholars were at the developing level, 12% at the proficient, and 1% at the distinguished level. And 8th grade reading, 44% of our scholars were at the beginning level, 39% of our scholars were at the developing level. 15% of our scholars scored proficient, and 1% scored distinguished. And again, this is on the map at the end of the school year last year. So the spring 22-23 map. Ms. Delnice, if you'll go to the next slide. Now, our GMAS results. If you look at this at the top, you will see the district view as far as the Georgia Milestones assessments for grades 6 through 8 in ELA, math, physical science, science, and social studies. And under that, you will see Crawford Loan's content area comparison for grades 6, 7, and 8 in ELA, math, science, and social studies. And one of the major things for you all, MAP is a great predictor in regards to students performing on the Georgia Milestones assessment. So a lot of this data is when you look at the performance levels for our scholars at Long Middle School on the GMAS last school year, most of this data is in alignment with the information that was shared with you previously. As you can see in ELA, 61% of our students scored at the beginning level in 6th grade, 50% in 7th grade, and 49% in 8th grade. And again, this is almost a direct image of the data that we saw previously from our map in the 22-23 school year. At the developing level in ELA, 6th grade students, there were 28% that scored at developing level, 32% in 7th grade, and 38% in 8th grade. At the proficient level, we had 10% in 6th grade, 17% in 7th grade, and 11% in 8th grade. And in 6th grade, we had, again, it was about 0.8, 0.9. It did not push to that 1% mark. Same thing for 7th grade. And in 8th grade, we had about 2% for scholars scoring at the distinguished level. In mathematics, 6th grade math, 70% of our scholars scored at the beginning level, 25% at the developing, and 4% at the proficient level. For 7th grade math, 54% scored at the beginning level, 40% scored developing, 5% scored at the distinguished level, at proficient level, and less than 1% in 7th grade math scored at the distinguished performance band on the Georgia Milestones assessment. And for 8th grade, 55% of our scholars scored at the beginning level, 31% at the developing level, 13% at the proficient level, and 1% at the distinguished level. Last year, we did not have any scholars to actually take the Georgia Milestones assessment in physical science. That is why you do not see any scores for Long Middle School for physical science for the 23 Georgia Milestones assessment. But for 8th grade science, 69% of our scholars scored at the beginning level, 22% at the distinguished level, 9% at the proficient level, and 1% at the distinguished level. And last, we have 8th grade social studies. 62% of our scholars scored at the beginning level, 32% scored at the developing level, 6% scored at the proficient level, and it was about 0.6 or 0.7 that we did not have that exactly 1%, but about 0.6, 0.7% at the distinguished level. And I also would like to say, the reason for those individuals who may not know, grade 6 and 7 do not test in science and social studies. That is only a tested area for 8th graders. That's why you do not see any data for 6th and 7th grade science and social studies. Ms. Delnice, next screen. Now, our glows and grows from the data that has been presented. Some glows. 51% of our students at ELA met or exceeded their math growth target from winter to spring. That is something we would like to celebrate. 41% of our scholars in math and reading exceeded their math growth target from winter to spring. Our CCRPI attendance increased from 44% to 50.9%. And the percent of students score proficient or above in science increased from 6.6% to 9.7%. And some growths from the data that was presented. The percent of students scoring an ELA at proficient or above is only 13.9%. And of course, we need that number to increase because we need to make sure our scholars are on grade level. And the same thing for mathematics. Only 8% of our scholars are at the proficient or above level in mathematics. Also, a growth. Our ADA, it decreased from 88% to 87.5%. So we need to increase that ADA. And the percent of students score proficient or above in science is only 9%. And of course, with the STEM focus at the school, we need to make sure our scholars are using that critical thinking. And so we need that number to increase as well. Now, at this time, we're going to have a discussion in regards to the data. Mr. Murphy. And please let me know if you need to go back to any screen as far as this discussion. So at this time, we can have our discussion in regards to the data. And this data protocol will go as follows. What do you notice? What are your wonderings? And what additional questions do you have in regards to the data? The floor is now open to begin this discussion.
Mr. Murphy, you are muted.
Thank you. So the guidelines for public comment, Go Team Meeting public comment protocol, there will be 20 minutes allotted for public comment. Each speaker will be limited to 2 minutes. There will be no conversation around specific personnel concerns during the open
Mr.
comment.
Murphy, I'm sorry, but I think we were going to have this discussion as far as the data that was presented previously. I don't think we're on public comment yet, are we?
Oh, we're not?
No. We're having a discussion in regards to the data that was presented.
Oh, okay, cool. That works. All right.
So are there anything that you all notice, any wonderings or any questions that you may have in regards to this data? At this time, the floor is open so we can truly have a deep discussion about this data and really become intentional on the next steps that we may have. Or any additional questions you may have. Ms.
I'm
Foster?
curious about the strategies that were used in ELA in 7th grade because their beginners band was one of the lowest.
Ms. Denise, can you go back? I think as far as the 17% proficient that the 7th grade students had in ELA.
Okay, let me see here. All right, so for ELA in, I was thinking about the map data, but so we noticed, let me see here. Yeah, so for reading, the 50% beginners, that was it reduced, like it wasn't lower than 8th grade, but just wondering what type of strategies were utilized in 7th that maybe we could spread across the board, maybe even implement in 6th grade and increase it or continue it in 8th grade so that way that trend can continue. But proficiency in 8th grade is a few points greater. So I'm sure, that may be carrying over from some of the strategies that were implemented in 7th, if the same teachers were, instructing the students. So I'm just curious about that.
And I will jump in to say one of the major things is that when digging into the data as far as the 7th grade ELA scores, the teacher had gifted endorsement. So a lot of the strategies that were used for the gifted class were used for all classes. And I think that's something major, that although a child may not be tag gifted, you can still utilize a lot of those same strategies, and at the same time incorporate higher levels of questioning to allow the student to meet the standard, the grade level standard, and possibly exceed that to score distinguished. So I did notice that when looking at the data, that the teacher where a lot of those individual students came from did have the gifting endorsement, but at the same time, through observations in the classroom, there was a lot of personalized small group instruction within the classroom, and that's a major shift that we're going to this year and a major focus that we're having this school year.
Yeah, I would add to that. There was a DOK gifted strategies PD on last week that was really good. That talked about using the Bloom's taxonomy and the Marzano's and all those different things in order to increase and giving us STEMs. We also did an ILT meeting. I think that if we're more intentional with that, for example, I was teaching a class today, and the students went through the workbook, answering the questions, pretty much taking notes on the Civil War and social studies. But the questions were pretty much DOK1. When did it happen? What's the name of it? What president wrote it? But they have writing prompts built into the actual workbook that move students up that DOK level. So we have to be intentional in making sure students answer those questions that have that higher DOK level, because that's what they're going to see on the milestone. So we have to be more intentional doing that on a day-by-day basis to expose children to the language and the rigor.
I wanted to piggyback on what you said, Ms. Mccall, because many years ago, I started the gifted endorsement program. I didn't complete it, but I did remember feeling like everything that they were telling us that we should do with our gifted students, all I could think was we should be doing this with all of our students. And, I didn't really understand why it was supposedly just for gifted kids, to engage them more, to make them think more deeply. And I'm glad that I heard you say that the positive impact that Ms. Boston is asking about with the 7th grade, you're attributing that to teachers who were trained and gifted, but were using those strategies across the board, not just with their gifted students. So I'm glad to hear that was happening. Thanks.
Thank you. And I actually have a wondering. I wonder because, of course, we've had this conversation a lot. Some of the students come in with the skills or the prerequisite skills that are needed to perform on grade level. They may need additional support in that. So I wonder, as far as the data, are the teachers entering into instruction as far as their focus on grade level standards, or are they focused on the skills that the students need in order to meet the standard? That is something I'm wondering, because it's exposure. If I'm not exposed to grade level content, then I may not be able to master it because I don't have that exposure. So my biggest wondering is, are we starting from the top and going down, or are we going from the bottom and going up? Because some of this, and this is just me, I'm noticing, it seems as if we're not teaching to the level of the standard based off the data, and we're teaching to the skills that the students need. So I wonder if that is something that was ongoing during this time of testing or throughout the school year.
Well, just some notes. I also started a gifted program, Ms. Dionese, and didn't finish it. So that is something that I incorporated in my instruction to help kids, and I've really pushed literacy. But I think that it's a tough lift to start at the top and try to bring kids up. And I don't want to say that some teachers don't have the stamina for it, but it's challenging. One thing I noticed with the 8th graders that we currently teach, they all expect the same thing. So when you attempt to differentiate, some of them don't want that differentiation. They want to hide behind their classmates. They want to work with people who seem to be more effective. And they shy away from getting something different. So I think that when we move to our goal setting, hopefully that really helps the kids kind of look in the mirror, recognize where they are, and see what they need to do to get better. Because I find myself preaching a lot to, come on, we got to work, we got to try, we got to think, and I know I can get a little passionate, so it may be a little aggressive, but it's almost like they're stagnant because they're comfortable with not growing. So we got to kind of get them comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I think we talked about that before. So some of these activities and strategies that we need to implement may help. And if we do it across the board, maybe children will be just used to it and it won't be as much resistance in some classes than others.
Ms. Boston, I know that all of your students know that your passion means you love them.
I do hope so.
I hope that's how my students interpret my passion too, because I do love them and I do want them to do the very best that they can, whether they believe it or not.
Are there any other wonderings or any other questions?
Could you take it back to the GMAS, Ms. Dionese?
And let me stand up so the light can come on. I do apologize.
You know, I always like to look at how the children grow from the previous years. Like I want to see how the 7th graders from last year did on the GMAS for this year. That's the type of data I would like to compare to see, if some strategies were effective that were implemented in 8th grade. And if the children were continuing to follow a trend, if we were trending up, going from developing to distinguish from beginner to developing, like did the children who were trending up, did they continue trending up?
Ms. McCall, Principal McCall, this information is available on APS Graphs, am I correct?
Yes, actually the presentation Ms. Owens did, she presented to the staff. So that information is available. And I was about to say, Ms. Boston, because actually, and I'm glad that you said that, I need you to make sure you look at the 8th grade map scores from the initial map. Although the map scores are baseline and we're really going to see their growth in November, but the baseline is pretty much consistent with the data from the 22-23 GMAS in reading and math. So if you just go in, you probably will only be able to see your own students, but I could, and we've shared that, but I can share that with you again so you can get the view, so you can see the cohort performance instead of the classes as far as grade level. So you can see that cohort. So we can, and I will share that again with you if necessary, so you can see that I think we're on a good path as far as meeting those goals and as far as the students that are trending upward. That's why in November, we really can get more information and gauge, are they continuing that path of success that we initially saw based off the results last school year. Are there any other wonderings, or can we? I think we can move on, Mr. Murphy.
Okay, to move on now, we were actually in our data discussion. I wanted to open the floor for informational items by Principal McCall. Are there any enrollment or leveling updates?
Okay, if you can go to the next slide. Now, yes. As far as enrollment, our projected enrollment for this school year was 675 students. Our current enrollment, and when I say current, as of the day of leveling, we had 649 students, but I'm proud to say currently we're trending upward in that number. Right now, we are about 661 students, and we are continuing to see them enroll daily. So initially we had a difference of 26 students. The difference in enrollment, it did not have any impact on our current staffing. We were able to keep all staff members, and leveling was not needed here at Crawford Long in regards to staff members and having to move. The next slide you will actually see will give you, as far as our leveling and our funds, it will show you our total adjustment. Based off of our projected enrollment being down 26 students, we were actually in the red, or negative $135,018. But the great part about it, we did have $112,709 in school reserves, $6,150 in our Title I family engagement. Our general fund, we had a carryover of $46,667. And for prorated losses, 50% of that, we had $67,509, and that was actually from our math instructional coach from last school year, that position being vacant for a portion of the year. So that's where that prorate losses of 50%, that's where we received that $67,509. So after leveling, after the numbers were done, we had an additional $98,018 that we had on our budget. And if you move to the next slide, you will actually see how those funds were allocated. There were some non-salary changes. And what I mean by non-salary, these funds were allocated to things that did not deal with staff or personnel. Well-based subscriptions and licenses, $10,000 was allocated for that. Administrative employee travel, $12,500. Instructional employee travel, $20,000. I want to stop right there. One of the major reasons that employee travel, both admin and instructional, that you see those amounts is because there is a need for ongoing professional development. APS, we have a dynamic team. We have a dynamic team of faculty and staff and individuals that support the teachers each day. But at the same time, we have to see things outside the scope of what we see every day. So these funds right here are being utilized to ensure that our staff members receive those professional developments and opportunities to receive additional research-based instructional strategies, but at the same time to make sure they continue learning, so our students will have the opportunity to continue learning also. Next, teacher stipends. We are going to have that intensive support that is outside the scope of the major work day. So of course, if teachers are staying, we need to have the funds to make sure they're compensated for staying additional hours, and also on the weekends if necessary. $3,000 was allocated for secretary overtime, $10,000 for signature programming, $2,500 for academic stipends, teaching and other supplies, $10,000, dues and fees, $5,000 for instructional, $5,000 for signature, and $3,500 for admin staff, $5,500 for student transportation, books other than PD, $3,000, and books other than textbooks for instruction, $3,018. Now, since this change request was sent, based off the data and based off the needs of the school, there were some adjustments made. So those updated adjustments will be provided to you at a later date. But the ILT and other individuals, we did see some needs to make a few changes as far as the funds, and most of that actually went towards student transportation. So our students can be exposed and receive opportunities outside of the classroom, and also for signature programming, because we need to make sure, in order for us to get STEM certified, we need to make sure we are seeing other schools throughout the state of Georgia who have received state STEM certification. Ms. Delnice, next slide. Okay, now we're at the time about some great information about our school. We've only been in school about 3 months, but Crawford Long have had some great things going on. First, we actually unveiled our Verizon Innovation Lab, and we had our ribbon cutting ceremony. It was a great event. It was a great opportunity. Our scholars really enjoyed it. So that was one of our first major events here at Long Middle School, which this event actually occurred in late August. So we have our Verizon Innovation Lab, and our students, they are having a great time in the lab. And Mr. Murphy, I would like to shout him out. Continue to do the great work you're doing alongside Ms. Porti to make sure our students are engaged in the lab. Our next major event, Speak and We Will Listen. Crawford Long Middle School was a school selected to have a mural which shows the image and the likeness of a lot of our scholars. And this mural was actually done by, her name is Chioma, and an artist named Pia. They actually received a grant from a local artist who transitioned due to kidney failure. And her family, in her memory, they wanted to give different areas throughout the city the opportunity to have murals, because that was something that she really enjoyed. But at the same time, murals that focus on equity and inclusiveness. So Long Middle School was chosen for that in partnership with communities in school. And a lot of our scholars, and when I say a lot, we had about 30 or 40 scholars to actually participate, and not only participate, but they were included in the drawing of the mural. So and we will listen, this mural unveiling happened in September, and it's a beautiful mural. So if you have the opportunity, please come by to see the mural. The next slide, Ms. Delnice. Our family engagement night. This year, to make sure our parents had a true understanding of MAP data and also Title I, we had our first family engagement night, and it was called Grilling and Drilling Down MAP Data in Title I. I'm very excited to say that we had almost, I think it was a little over 100 parents who came out to engage and also to gain information on how they can support us each day to ensure that their scholar is working towards their goals. So our first grilling and drilling, it was wonderful, and we hope that our family engagement nights continue on as such. Next slide, please. And now, if we have a group here at Long Middle School. It's sponsored by our counselor, Dr. Jones. It's called Blacks Boys Matter. This group right here, they were actually featured on Atlanta News First, Channel 46. And this program is in conjunction with the Department of Behavioral Health for the City of Atlanta. And this program supports our young men in the building and shows them ways to cope with mental health and their health struggles. This is going to be an ongoing project that we have here at Long Middle School that will support our young men throughout the school. And again, they were featured on Channel 46 with this program. Are there any questions at this time?
I have a statement, not a
Yes,
question.
ma'am.
I just want to say that was amazing. I guess saying that 100 parents, that's amazing.
It was
So
standing room only.
kudos to Crawford Long for getting the parents to come and turn out, especially for something that important.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any
Okay, Principal Mccall, that concludes your report, your informational items in your report?
I'm sorry. We are going to have some additional activities here at Long Middle School ongoing each month. So please make sure that you look at our school website. We're sending out robocalls, and just make sure you're engaged. But at the same time, if you would like to come, if you would like to participate in these programs, we would love for you to come out, because our scholars here, they're working and they're doing some great things. And I can say myself, there are some major shifts that I'm seeing already in 3 months, and the expectations have been set for the scholars and individuals here in the building. And as stated earlier, we are on a path to see the goals that we have set. We're on the path to meet those goals.
Thank you very much. At this time, we're going to move into the next phase of the agenda. And that phase is actually the announcements. Announcements first. Does anyone have any announcements from the Wait, hold on. Based on this, public comment comes first. So are there any public comments from the floor? I would like to read the actual public comment protocols that we have set in place. Make sure my mic is on. And those are as follows. Go Team Meeting Public Comment Protocol, Public Comment Protocol. There will be 20 minutes allotted for public comment. Each speaker will be limited to 2 minutes. There will be no conversation around specific personnel concerns during the open comment portion. The Go Team chairperson reserves the right to stop a public comment if the language of the comment becomes threatening or offensive. Please note that members of the GO team will not be able to provide a response or engage in direct conversation during the public comment portion. People can email their public comments to the GO team chairperson, Ms. Natasha Hall, or place a comment card in the comment box in the Long Middle School main office. To participate in public comment, you must sign up at the beginning of the GO team meeting. All public comments, concerns are important and will receive a follow-up response. Do we have any public comments from the floor? There are no public comments. I'll proceed with the rest of the agenda. The next phase of the agenda is the announcements. Does anyone have any announcements?
Well, I just want to add that I attended our cluster advisory team meetings. We had 2. And the cluster plans to have an event and around January or February. And but we first want to reach out to the community, see what the community needs from the schools and the clusters, and then proceed from there. I noticed that the clusters are really interested in bridging the gap. So if parents are not able to come to the school, to our locations, then we will come out to the community. So so first we're going to ascertain what the community needs in order to support their children. And then we're going to try to accommodate, provide whatever assistance that's necessary to help the parents be more communicative, more present, more vocal, and to support their children. And that I noticed a lot of the elementary schools, they're doing a lot of outreach to their parents, and they had some great ideas. And hopefully we'll collaborate with the elementary schools and also collaborate with other clusters so that way we can enhance our efforts to connect with the community.
Also, I would like to announce 2 things. Our next GO team meeting will be November 16th at 5:30 p.m. So make sure you put that in your calendars. And also 2, we have a trunk or treat celebration on Monday at from 6 to 7, based on the flyer I have for family and friends in the community. So please, if you know anyone, invite them out. I'm pretty sure everyone, Miss Jacoby, you can invite to come out too and enjoy it with us. We have some STEM activities, some games, and some fun for the community and for the school and community. So please, October 30th, Monday, from 6 to 7 p.m. Any more announcements from the floor?
I'd like to add that one thing that's been happening at our school that I think is really wonderful, and I'm honestly not sure who's doing it, the community food bank that happens, where they come and they bring the food for people to come and take and share.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
And I think that's awesome that that's happening. And I see that most of the stuff that is brought gets taken. So that's great. And I'd love to know who to thank for that.
That is actually in partnership with community and schools. So Ms. Donaldson is the person responsible for that. And this is, I know last year they did it also. So Ms. Donaldson is the person that's responsible for that.
Yeah, they have some really good stuff too. I was able to take some stuff and give it to some people. We had a community event at our church and give it to them because a lot of people needed, and that was just the carrot. So they really have a lot of great stuff for the people, and the people are usually there in the mornings when we're getting in, pulling in, lined up. So it's really been a great benefit to the community. Are there any other announcements from the floor?
Oh, and I'll just mention that we have our Cascade Spirit Night, Skating Spirit Night tomorrow at 6. Tickets were on sale last week, so some kids did buy tickets. So hopefully more will show up, even if they show up at the door. It'd be nice for the kids to get in their Halloween costumes and have a good time together at Cascade Skating Rink tomorrow night.
Okay. Any more announcements from the floor? Okay, great. We're going to move on to the rest of our agenda as printed, which is the adjournment. We have reached the end of our agenda. Or is there any additional business at this time?
Oh, can I mention one other fundraiser? Is that okay?
No, go ahead.
Come on, Mr. Murphy. All right, so 8th graders have activities coming up towards the end of the year. So our first fundraiser for students to raise funds to help with their individual 8th grade dues is our Double Good fundraiser, and that starts November 15th. I distributed flyers today. That fundraiser will last for 4 days. So for the 15th until the 19th, it starts on a Wednesday, ends on a Sunday. And the children will earn 50% of the profits. And again, that will go directly to their personal account. So right now, the 8th grade dues are $250. So if students sell $500 worth of popcorn, then their entire 8th grade due fee will be covered. So I just wanted to make sure that we're not sad, because our next meeting will be actually when the fundraiser begins. So I wanted to make sure I put it out there ahead of time. Thank you, Mr. Murphy.
You're welcome, Ms.
Yeah, I'm
Boston.
sorry, Mr. Murphy. Let me jump in right quick. Also, I just would like to say thank you, because we actually gained a new partner today, Clorox, and they provided our faculty, staff, and our school with several cases of Clorox wipes. And of course, that was something that we needed to make sure our areas are clean and safe. So I would like to highlight that. Also, we're preparing our scholars for our one fair in every content area. So just make sure the scholars are working, but at the same time, supports are being provided for those individuals, because our goal is to increase the number of students that we have participating in the one fair in all content areas. So that's a major push that we have. And also, I'm going to leave you all hanging, because one of our partners, we have some great things coming in the month of December for our entire Crawford Loan family, including bus drivers, everyone. So I want everyone to sit tight, because we have a partner who's really, really going to do great things in the month of December for Long Middle School.
That's great. Ms. Mccall, thank you for solving the mystery of the Clorox wipes. We were all wondering, well, what happened that we all got that big supply. And I want to make one just, recognition of 2 of our staff are becoming parents again very soon. And I think today was the last day for both of them, or tomorrow is. Okay. Yeah, it's always nice to see our staff increasing to the population, so we have more kids to teach in the future.
Yes, more overcrowded classrooms. Exactly, Ms. Tiffany. Is there any additional business at this time? All hearts and minds clear. All right. At this time, we have reached the end of our agenda. May I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I motion to adjourn.
A second? I'll second that. All in favor, please raise your hands, or I'll say aye.
Aye.
All right. All opposed, raise your hands or say nay. Okay. Any abstentions? Please raise your hand or say abstain. At 6:50 p.m., this meeting is adjourned on 10/26/2023. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Have a
Thank
good.
you.
Have a great evening. Be safe.
Have a good evening.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening, and make sure you make it home safely if you're not home.
All righty. Thank you.